shifting perceptions. Tonight is week 7 of the Enlightened Changemakers series, and our special guest tonight is Simon Connell, Soul Mind Essences. Simon first became interested in flower essences in about 1990 with the Californian range, and without even realizing it, it quickly became a passion. His own early experiences made his jaw drop a number of times, and first experience with lemon verified to Simon that they did do what they said they did, and other experiences followed. Simon was also interested in the pyramids and also intrigued in the making of them, and very aware that essences and pyramids linked at first sight. He thought it was the aspect of being that linked through nature. It was only with the introduction of this current range that he collected that the link has been made more clear. Struggling to understand how they organized it was the pyramid itself that led Simon to opening the information and understanding of the nature of these essences. Few in number, 13 in all, but they pack so much in, it's going to take a very long time to fully understand them. But what he does know of them already excites him like a fire. Flower essences and the various ranges of essences in general have been around for a long time, and many have surged, particularly since 2012. What is it about these essences that make them so important in this current time? The evolution of essences has taken place for millennia. Devic Realm is going to have greater influence on our conscious. Pardon?
Sorry.
The Devic Realm is going to have greater and greater influence in our consciousness here. It is a way to begin to understand them. It's an interesting topic, and I can't wait to talk about it. So please welcome our special guest, Simon. Welcome.
Oh, thanks very much. Pleasure to be here, Trish.
I was going to ask you who that guru was, but Awesome. So let's start with I've got a few questions here to ask you about the essences, but yes. I want to really know how it actually started for you. Have you always been interested in energy? Have you always been interested in natural remedies, that type of thing? How did it all start for you?
I suppose for a large proportion of my life prior to, let's say I would have been about 30, 32 at the time when a major change in my life took place. Up until that time, I wouldn't say I dismissed, but I never looked further into those things. I just I was aware of them. I didn't dismiss them, but I didn't investigate either. Okay. And but very time in my life, a particular time, I think it was 32, sometime about 1990, massive year, whole lot of change and everything. You know, I became what people call vegetarian.
Okay.
At that time, holy moly, that scared the shit out of me because I hated vegetables.
And that wasn't the done thing back in 1990. You would have been
certainly not. No,
doing that.
Not at all. There were a few of us that sort of experienced that kind of shift at the same time, and it happened to come along. We happened to be sitting around. A number of topics were bandied around, and the mention of flower essences, and it just sort of sparked. You know, it was like, why don't we get together in a group? Somebody learns about this and shows the group. Somebody learns about that, and we present and so on. Okay. That never actually came about, but when somebody mentioned there was a mention of flower essences, I've just gone, well, I'll do that. That was the automatic response within me. I didn't speak about it. Came across a book that is just, it's still in, I believe it's still in print, Absolute Bible. It gives you so much insight to what flower essences are beyond anyone else. No disrespect to White or Bark or anybody, but they only touched on the surface of what essences are capable of doing.
Okay.
This particular book would talk about the karmic background of the plant, of the
Oh,
flower, how
interesting.
it's used. Okay, so it would be talking, say, for example, my first very noticeable experience with lemon. You'd go in and have a look at the karmic background. So in Lemuria, it was used in this fashion. In Atlantis, it was used in this fashion. It was then moved into Egypt, and the Egyptians developed it this way, and then the Greeks developed it this way, and currently it is in this fashion. Then it would give an outline of how it would work within people, then
Okay.
how it would work within animals, then
Wow.
how to use it with plants. No other thing that I've
Okay.
ever come across has ever given the complexity of what they're talking about within
No,
those things. So
that's
nobody,
really in-depth.
yeah,
Yeah.
Barth did not, whether he realised it or not, he did not mention it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the book,
That's really in-depth.
yeah.
Mm.
Now this was a channel, the information. Garudis is the
Yeah.
source. The channel is Ken Fox. The book is Flower Essences and Vibrational Remedies. And
Ah.
there's more information, but largely it's about 116 out of that range.
Okay.
And then at the back you've got basically lists. Okay, I'm looking for something that will deal with the common cold. Oh, there you go. Boom, jasmine. Okay,
Okay.
I'm looking for something that will help develop my psychic experience or petunia. All right,
There it
but
is.
petunia will also
Interesting.
do this and that as well. So
Yeah.
there's all these checklists and everything at the back.
Well,
Superb book. Unsurpassed.
so it started off just as a bit of an interest amongst a group of friends, and
Yep.
then you found this, and it's like, bam, that's it. That's been your purpose.
Yes. And
Interesting. I love that.
yeah, besides the experience I had, and like I say, yeah, jaw dropped.
Yeah.
It also been a bit of a bit of embarrassment too. I remember one time I was going down the street from play in an area that I lived, and I saw these petunias across the road. Now I'd been hoping to, any time I saw flowers that were within the range, and the great beauty of those is most of those used to grow in yards. They
Yes.
were easily accessed. So I've
Yes.
seen these petunias one day, and
Yeah.
I've stopped and I'm having a chat to the petunias. Oh,
As
what do
you
you
do.
guys? Yeah, what do you guys do? Wow, I'm trying to remember the book, and then I'm going, forget the book. Let's see what comes of it. Now, it's right out fenceless place. It's a bordering garden right up in the front. I see this fellow, and I see this fellow come walking out of the carport down alongside of the in between the car and the house, and he's making his way towards the front area. And I'm sitting there going, well, geez, don't make it obvious that I'm aware that he's there. So I'll just keep talking to these plants as though I don't know he's around. And I could see sort of out of peripheral vision, this fella sort of spotted me, and he's going, don't make it obvious that I've seen him. Just turn around and go back and leave the nut to it. So off he went.
Oh my goodness. They probably blamed it on you being a vegetarian, and now you're
Yeah,
talking to the plants.
God, that weird guy lives down on the.
Yeah.
And
So
then
your love of essences, then, did it go? Did you wouldn't have started making them straight away? Did you try how they worked first and kind of experimented with it with your own health?
I used it not in the prescribed manner. At the
Okay.
time, the prescribed manner was you got a really wonderful little collection jar of
Yeah.
some description. I followed the collection process
Yeah.
entirely, and but I didn't take it the way it was recommended, that you get the mother essence. From that, you create a stock bottle, and
Yep.
from that, you then make your dose bottle from your stock bottle.
Yep.
I collected the mother essence in an IXL jam jar.
Okay.
Ornate little unit that was.
Yeah.
And I just had, we had one of those drinking jugs, but normally you'd get beer or whatever in the pub out of it. We happened to have one of these in the house there, so filled up with water. That was the drinking water. So I just put it in the fridge. And then one day, a Sunday, I'm going to start on the lemon. So I just got some of the mother essence and I just poured it straight into the drinking bottle, into
Yep.
the jug. And every time
Yep.
I went to the fridge, bang, I was drinking. That was that. And then I'd just top it up, do the same. I'd just use mother essence, pour it straight out of the jam jar, which I kept, I made sure that I kept it in an appropriate manner rather than just dumping it around and leaving it.
Yeah.
And then it was the Friday, the Friday after. So I started that on a Sunday. On the Friday, I became aware of its effect, and in no uncertain terms. So that was the way in which I went about it. And I collected a lot in jam jars and everything else. And I had 56 or 58 out of those that were there.
Wow.
And then
were you just doing it as as a hobby kind of thing then?
Yeah. And I wanted to know that they worked as well.
Okay. And so the book that you've been saying, he had the instructions on how to create them and where to find them and all that.
How to gather. I don't go through that form of process anymore. I don't gather in that fashion, which was basically, I still follow some of the aspects of it. And that is make sure the collection is complete before midday. But everything else, different process now.
Okay, interesting. So it all just started off with a little fascination, and I know I've totally been there. It's like something just grabs you, doesn't it, from the inside, and you're like, oh, and you just get obsessed about it. So it started there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you've described it a little bit, but what's the difference between the essences that you make and the other essences that, the popular ones, like people know the bark essences, and you've said the California range. What's the main difference that you would say?
These essences are for this time.
Okay.
They are specifically for this time. Many others, you look at the bark and they'll speak about, here's your mental and emotional circumstance, and this is what it'll specifically deal with. And I got no doubt I've used them as well at times and so forth. These rather different because a lot of their activity is working on the gene strands or the DNA strands. It is about releasing codes. So we've got millions and millions of codes.
Yes.
And these will release these codes that are held either within the auric field or within our genetic code with the genetic signaling and a release period. So we've brought in all of this potential with us. These things are there's only 13 in the range. And yet they have such a broad spectrum. Now, the most astounding, and again, my jaw hit the ground when I came across this. And so I was sitting there and I'm looking at it, and after assistance with the pyramids, here's the organization. Here's how they relate. There's their connection and their place within the hierarchy. And then I've known, all right, in the past I might have got, say, I wouldn't blend more than, say, 8 flower essences because you're asking too much to be done in the one time. But you can get the effect of those 8. Now, if you join 8 together, you get those 8 individual effects. With these, if you join them in a certain combination, you get an entirely different effect. There is a synergy. For example, each one of them, they have a quadrants. They exist within quadrants, as I would put it. There are 5. If you combine a certain, you will work on, which I've been using recently, collective mind. It will help you separate from collective mind or race mind.
Wow.
It's easy to walk away from confusion and sort of like the world circumstances and everything else that having around. It's also good. Okay, you're making changes even within community. It hasn't. Now, I had an experience with this one time. I was walking down the street. I'm going past. I'm just walking along, and all of a sudden, I felt this great fear of getting ill. And I'm walking along, and then I've really questioned myself because I really don't. I've been healthy all my life. I've just been fortunate. It's just the way it is. Any difficulty with my health has usually been because I've submitted myself to some kind of torture, sport, surfing, falling off a rock or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down and I'm sort of, what is it? How'd this happen? Where'd this come from? As soon as I asked this question, where'd it come from? I realised just as I did, I was walking past the health centre and the slide door just did wide open. There's all these people in there.
Fear.
And I'm
Yeah.
going, wow, that's it. And I felt it through the solar plexus. But it first came about as a feeling and a thought.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I knew that, well, I suspected that wasn't my thought, my feeling.
Yeah.
And I was aware, wow, look at that. Look how that impacts upon us. And I became aware of this. There's a number of blends. Perfect one for right now. There's another blend that will help people get over illness rather quickly. If you go back to the Californian ones, tomato, flower essence of tomato, one of the things it'll do is once you've overcome the ailment, the recovery process can take a while, re-establishing and so on. Flower essence of tomato will actually speed up that recovery period. It will help clear the dross. So you can imagine the dross that we're carrying energetically as a result of that disruption. So energetically, it clears the dross. There is one of them that works on the astral level that will do the same.
Okay.
There's
That's really interesting. So for the people who don't even know what essences are, you actually take the essence of a flower or lemon or tomato. It's actually the essence of it which becomes kind of a really microscopic kind of part of it, isn't it?
Well, it's the vibrational essence. So it's the signature of that plant.
Gotcha. And you've taken it a bit further because you're actually really using intuitive here, and you're using a deeper vibration. You're using a generational vibration from different civilizations. You're really going back and incorporating those vibrations in it as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to claim it burnt mine, but it's not, fortunate. It's the plants themselves, and I've been drawn to them. So they're an expression of, I suppose, in a way, myself. But these things haven't been in this manner for a long, long time. They haven't been activated in the fashion that they are available now. Interestingly, that you mentioned, this old system and generational. There's flower, the essence of paper bark will actually help move back through your own genetic ordering. For the sins of the father will be passed to the son for 7 generations. That's a genetic process of transferring certain patterns. It will move back through that generational line and clear those particular anomalies.
It's kind of reminding me of light language, which is becoming quite popular now. Because light language works on the codes, with codes to decode you. So when you said that you were working with the decoding, immediately I'm like, wow, this is another form of light language. So, I wonder if you've really got some channeling coming in here and really helping you, giving you the answers in a way, these past civilizations, maybe you've got some energy of them coming in through you to give you this information.
Absolutely, it has to be. I can't claim it to be mine. Fortunately, I'm the one that happens to be given the opportunity to deal with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just think it's brilliant. And, everything, and I've been saying this for a little while, with all modalities, everything is changing. The old modalities are not working as well as they used to. And that goes from any divination tool to any remedy. It has to be upgraded for this new energy that we're all in. So, and not to say the other modalities aren't working, but the more fine-tuned ones are working more efficiently at the level where people are. So how do you go about programming an essence?
Very highly scientific here, Trish. Pretty much the same way as you would program crystal or anything else as such. So you would set your intent.
Yep.
All right. So there would be, for example, there's a certain blend, and there's another one. There's another one in particular that can help with the change of patternings, habits, and these things.
Okay.
Now, it will work on any habit, and we have many habits. Okay, which one do I want it to work on? So I am specific. This is what I am using this for. So
Okay.
I hold that intent, visualize the outcome that I feel, and focus more on how I feel what this situation is and the
Yeah.
overcoming. Okay, so for example, if you want to give up smoking, it will help in there. So how am I going to feel if I'm not smoking? Oh, fresh air. I can taste food again. I can smell stuff. All this sort of thing. There you
Right.
go about it. So you hold that intent. Now you can do that when you first make or you put that essence into the bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm using this bottle for that purpose.
Okay.
If you get halfway through that bottle, you've either decided you want to change, you succeed at what you do. You know, you don't have to discard that bottle. You can now go and you can neutralize it. The pyramid will help you do that.
Yeah.
Um, and then neutralize and reprogram.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So is it like some of the healing um, things that I've seen, like through Greg Braden, where the you've probably seen that video of the Chinese
Sound?
doctors around
Yeah,
that patient, and the cancer disappeared in like 20 minutes
yeah,
because they weren't actually treating the cancer. They were actually holding the space of health,
yeah.
and it's a different energy. So it sounds like how you program you're not programming the essences to get rid of anything. You're programming them to have a healthier state.
We're targeting a particular area. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
basically, put it in a simpler term, and as as you mentioned, Braden, and sort of trigger the idea, it's basically prayer in a bottle.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we're asking specifically. The other benefit with it, like the Devic Realm, but they also have connections. It can open up and will strengthen connections with angelic realms, not only the Devic. Naturally, angelic. Why angelic? Geez, because there isn't a single action that takes place that isn't under the ordinance or governance of, like the beating of an insect's wings. It's
Yes.
governed in the realm of there's an angelic. If you have a look at the earth in itself, we have 360 degrees. A
Yeah.
decal is 10 degrees. Every 10 degrees is under the specific ordinance of a particular angelic, which would be overseen by, so a quadrant for the east is Michael, for the north is Uriel, for the west is Gabriel, and for the south is Raphael.
Raphael.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raphael. So they maintain that, but then there are the divisions within. So when I say about hierarchical, it's this level of organisation that energy is transmitted through. Now, we're not going to ask one person to do everything. They all, there's a system, and then this pervades into the natural environment as well.
Mm.
So then there are beings that will operate in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So when people ask you for, and I'm going to get onto your range in a minute because I find it fascinating that there's only 13, and I know there'll be a reason.
Good, tell me, please.
Yeah. Actually, immediately I thought, oh, is there 13 pyramids? That's immediately what I thought.
Right.
But when you're preparing an essence for someone, I've used them before, so I'm aware of how to use them. But explain to people how they actually use them.
Very simply. You can take it direct, the dropper bottles that you have, those amber things with the eyedropper. Now you can take those and you put the drops directly under the tongue, because that quick access to the blood circulates very quickly. You can do it, and making sure, of course, that you don't touch the dropper on the tongue or anything else. Otherwise, ditch that one and get a new one. You don't want to contaminate it. You can do it that way. My preference is same number of drops into your water bottle. every time you drink throughout the day, you were getting a dose. The beauty of it is, bar one, and again, this is the only essence I've ever crossed that you can overdose on. There is one in the range that you don't want to take too frequently because its effect is significant and works on the crown chakra. And if you overactivate the crown chakra, you can find yourself in a bit of confusion, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, put it in your drinking bottle. Bang, away you go. One, that lengthens the life of the dose bottle that you're using. I always take them at the dose bottle level. That's my preference. I don't go to, stock bottle level. I don't go down to a dose bottle. Maybe I'm just lazy. That could be it. Like, shit, I got it here. Why go for another bottle? I'll just start now. Besides, I can wander out and gather them anytime I like anyway.
You can, that's right.
Well, I've got to make a bit of a trip to get one of them, but that's okay. Now, there is another way as well. And this is, all right, you want to quick. Sometimes you just choose it because that's the way you want to do it. Get hold of the bottle that you have your essence in. You take it up to the heart level and you move out to the fourth layer, the fourth body, astral field, and you hold it there and you leave it for about at least 30 seconds. You will know when it is cooked. And this you will feel, and if you pay attention to it, you will feel that vibration actually emanate throughout. So there's another way which is different from anything else that I've also known as well.
It's not ingesting it, is it? It's just holding the vibration in your own vibration.
Yes, exactly. And so you're just sitting there now, you're having an immediate effect with the energetic field rather than going through the body to affect the energetic field. So we're working inside, outside in, inside out, which is
fascinating energy, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
It's just fascinating, and the things that we can heal ourselves and get supported with, these kind of vibrations as well. It's just really interesting, and I think it's with these essences, it's a beautiful way to support the body and to take away some of those fears that aren't even ours. They're generational, and
exactly.
Just to really dissipate some of those so that you've got this clarity and then you can actually think better thoughts. Because I'm a little bit like you. I don't really believe in ill health. I just don't get sick. And there's other things that do happen to me in life, in my other areas of life that I am working on. But health I've never had to work on. And I think that's a mindset, and it's obviously my journey here as well. But I do support my health with vibrational, like the essences and other things that I do. So I think it's important to look after your body, not just on that. We're also putting vibrations in when we eat.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
On all levels to look after it. So what do you think that over the essences have been evolving, obviously, and you've evolved them a bit further. How do you see them evolving in the near future, perhaps a little bit more, and perhaps for the next generation?
Yeah. I believe the major step forward in the evolution has been the ability of the combinations, that synergy to make something entirely different from the combination of the 3, 4, and 5 that happen to be there. There are a number of other combinations that I haven't even discovered yet. I know that they are there. I've sort of toyed with ideas, but I don't know what they are. They're going to hold for a long while. They will be in this manner, but what I believe will be the greater deal happening here is they'll go deeper than ever before. And we will respond. It'll be like a biofeedback. I feel this change, or I understand this particular thing. And now my belief in such a thing becomes stronger and stronger. Therefore, the effect of the thing becomes stronger and stronger. It's a magical process, certain magic will exist while belief exists. And I don't want to be romantic about the idea of magic. Magic, as put forward by one of the great magicians way back in the time when this sort of consciousness was starting moving through, Eliphas Levi, I believe it was, and he said something like magic is the active, or something like, it is the conscious application of one's will in certain view of changing one's awareness. This is the element of magic. And so now, just recently, I've come across, somebody's talking about coffee, and I go, "Oh, that magic's too strong for you. You're too young." And I realize why? Because it's changing your consciousness.
Yes.
Coffee. You're like, "Oh shit, give me coffee." Whoa, now I'm feeling good. My consciousness has changed. This magic has come in. So there's food, there's song, there's dance, there's all these forms of magic, and this is one of the great forms of vibrational magic that can assist us to really move forward. They are inexpensive. They will get you in there. If you want to take up making them, go ahead. Go out into nature. What better way of doing it? And it builds your discernment. Like, I'm walking through and then, boom, how did I find that one? Did I just happen to walk this way? No, I followed something that was getting me there in the first place. And so we start to hone our ability to discern the differences of energies. And because they're subtle at first, but then once you tune in on it, like, I've been nearly sat on the backside a couple of times. Oh, geez.
Here we are.
Hang on a minute, like that.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I just really feel quite a number of clients I've had over the last 6 months are really being given messages, ancestral messages, to bring back a lot of these remedies from nature, and not just tribal remedies, but I mean, the essences have been around forever, as you've said. They're over every civilization that we've had here. People use them, and I just feel that there's a lot of ancestral stuff that we're tuning into now, and it's bringing back all of these recipes, and I just think it's beautiful, because it's really getting back to our relationship with nature. And with none of the interference in between. So what you make is coming purely from nature, and then the vibration of it and everything is it's kind of coming through you as well. So it just gets it back to an absolute relationship with nature, which is very healing. I just think it's fascinating.
And for me, it's a transformation of the understanding of nature too. I don't walk in through an area of trees and grass and shrubs and everything. I walk into an area now of these other living beings, because I know there's a consciousness within them.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And even the soil and the stones and the rocks, you can make an essence of pretty much anything. It's vibrational signature. And so therefore consciousness is moving through it. And I was sitting there, like, whoa, wow. And sometimes, isn't it interesting? You get into nature and often you're just quiet.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to be anything else.
No, you're just there and feeling.
Mm.
So why 13?
I was hoping somebody else could tell me that.
All right, let's talk about the pyramids. So what's your correlation now with pyramids and the essences? What have you discovered?
All right. So 13. I knew I had 13. It's the four elements, the elemental elements and the non-elemental elements are contained within this. So you're talking about north, south, east and west, but also the higher of that: fire, water, air and earth. All right, so there's those, and then there are the 9 particular plants. Now I had them, I've gathered them, and then I'm sitting there one time going, all right, you people, you beings, I wasn't being quite so polite. I'm going, all right, so I've got these. What There can't just be this clump. There must be some organisation to them. There must be a relationship between them. What is it? And I really couldn't work it out. I was off at a psychic fair on Bribey Island, a Sunday afternoon, and I'd taken with me 2 skeletal pyramids, copper, so you can put them together. They pull apart, you put them together, 60 centimetre base and an 80 centimetre base. Now, I decided to put the 80 centimetre base over the 60 metre, so there was about a 10 centimetre boundary around, 2 pyramids, one sitting inside of the other, both skeletal, and I'm just sitting there, and fortunately, it was a very slow day. So I'm playing with these essences, and I've gone, well, all right, let's see. And I go, wow, this one fits here. Well, naturally,
Wow.
the elementals were easy to place, north, south, east, and west.
Yes.
Piece of cake. All right, so they're taken up on this marginal boundary in between the 2 things, and I go, all right, so what's the next one? Well, circle. There's going to be a circle. And a circle focal point. Everything has a ruach. It has a reason.
Yeah.
The focus is the reason. All right, who is in the focus? Who is the focal point? Well, you throw quoits over something that's... Hello? Yeah.
Yep.
Throw quoits over something that stands upright. That's pine forest. That's where you go. Boom, you're in the middle. And then I just started playing around. And I'm going, oh gee whiz. That's it. So I'm pretty well taken apart by this right at the time. I'm realising, even though I had a great faith in it, there was probably still, well, what I didn't realise at the time, the scepticism. But then seeing this organisation and knowing that's how they, feeling very much that's how they go together, I'm there, wow, I'm a bit in awe. And, well, I'm walking around into the day trying to work this out, trying to push forward too quickly initially. Okay, what's this do now? And what's this? No, just soak this one in first. I was delaying. I was write this down, get this order, get this pattern. And I didn't do it. And then it wasn't until the next day, I'm there, right, I better write this down. So I started writing it down and from memory as I did it. And then I go, hang on, this one was there, but no, it doesn't go there. And then the next day, as I was writing them down, I realised I had 2 in the wrong place. They were very close, but they didn't fit. And as I wrote them down, I go, boom, bit like writing out a dream. You know, you try and working out what's going on when you're saying it to yourself, but you write it out and the words just fall, oh, that's what it's about. Very similar. So I've done that and it was like, whoa. Just recently, I became aware of the influence. So not only with that, then I realised the pyramids have basically a 3-layer throughout, whether that it shows or not. So they have like a king's chamber, a queen's chamber in the lower. And there is the organisation of those, 1, 4, 4, 4. Oh, beautiful. So I was sort of sitting there looking at that. And then just recently, probably about 2 weeks ago, I was going, whoa, that space in the middle. Wow. Why did I never realise this before?
Yeah.
It is exactly the same as what would be, there is a meditation called Meditation of Divine Manifestation, and it uses the Hebrew letters and it uses the archetypal elements of fire, water and air. And the air issues forth from the heart as and we form this into what it is that we want to put out into the world. And I'm going, oh, goodness, this is how the pyramid breathes. This is what it does. So if one is able to, at the right time, put something in there, this I have not yet divined. If somebody's able to, if you're able to at the right timing and that, get this little thing in here, what will be the outcome? And that's going to be another pursuit. I'm keen to, I can't let this one go. It's been in my head for, well, it's been in my body for a while now.
It'll channel through.
I've got to, I have to construct the pyramid first to be able to set that up and find out. And I'm sure there's going to be a bit of experimentation before I come up with it. But yeah, Mundle.
Such a fascinating story, and yeah, I totally believe in the essences and the vibration of them, and anybody who's listening, if you have tried them, you'll understand and know that they work as well.
Yeah.
But if you haven't tried them and you're really interested in trying something else that isn't chemical, that is actually in tune with your vibration, then definitely connect with Simon. So the best place for people to connect with you is on your Facebook page, Simon, is that correct?
Yes, yep, through the Facebook. I'll get the site as quickly as possible.
Let me pop it in the comments.
Yep.
I'll just see if it'll come up.
Wholemindessences.com.au.
I'll pop it in there, but when we get off the call, I'll tag it in there as well, so people can just get in there and go and connect with you, and they can message you if they want to learn more. And
They're probably best to go through my email at the moment if they wish to message. I don't know if I'm able to receive anything through the site as yet. Or
all right,
on Facebook.
what's your email? I'll pop it up here for you.
Simon Connell now, all lowercase, all one word.
Yep.
At yahoo.com.au.
Perfect. So that's in the comments for anybody who wants to connect with Simon and find out all about these amazing essences. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And just like I do with all the other guests, because this is our holistic bliss, Enlightened Changemakers series. And Simon is one of the Changemakers. There he is right there. You can also connect with him through the magazine. So you can hop online at holisticbliss.com.au and holisticblissmagazine.com.au, and you can check out Simon in the magazine and click through to his details there too. So thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and my mind is just racing with information now. Yeah, so for everybody listening, connect with Simon and find out more about the essences, because they they're fascinating, and it really is our next vibrational level to be connecting with nature in this way again. Yeah.
And what I add, for anybody that wants to make an essence, it doesn't have to be from any particular range or anything else. Okay. Standard process, just go out and do it.
Wow.
Because imagine there's this range. There's these ones that I'm aware of. There's California. There's ones for vegetable plants, the Peligandra, were the ones, and they were all vegetables. And there's a whole range. So, you feel like, I want to make an essence one day. Go and do it. It's not going to do you any harm.
No, that's and people can connect with you and find out more information about that too. I've got some people saying hello to you here. We've got Will Burley and Juanita Tavalli saying hi to you. So you can catch up with them in the comments when we finish. And yeah, so thank you. And thank you everybody for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you next week on our next episode of TrishRockTV.
Thank you so much, Trish. Been a